The U.S. Embassy has issued some warning as 8 passport bros lost their lives in Colombia. Let's take a look at what's the latest, then we'll discuss further.
Tonight, an urgent warning for Americans visiting Colombia after a string of deaths in tourist hotspots. The U.S. Embassy in Bogota urging travelers not to use dating apps in the country, writing in a security alert that criminals are using the sites to lure victims, with many U.S. citizens drugged, robbed, and even killed by their Colombian dates. Embassy officials confirming the deaths of at least 8 Americans traveling in Medellin, possibly linked to the apps.
I'm out of words to describe. I don't even know how I feel right now.
A situation all too familiar for the family of 50-year-old Tu Zhang, an artist and activist from Minnesota who we first reported on last month. He had been traveling in Colombia in December when he called his brother out of the blue asking for money.
This time he was like, hey, do you have a couple of thousand? I was like, yeah, no problem. When do you want it? He said, I want it now. I'm in this bit of a situation here. I go, yeah, I can do that.
Zhang's family telling our Minneapolis affiliate soon after he stopped responding to their messages, he was found dead. A local prosecutor saying Zhang was kidnapped during a date and killed when he could not make the ransom payment, and that his body was found covered in stab wounds.
I was confused. To be honest with you, I don't know why, what the motive is.
Zhang had visited Colombia in the past, posting photos and videos to social media as recently as October with an unidentified woman.
I'm with my girl.
The embassy's alert indicated officials do not believe all 8 of the deaths are linked and said they've seen an increase in reports of incidents involving the use of online dating applications to lure victims, typically foreigners, for robbery by force or using sedatives to drug and rob individuals. Often the reports coming from major Colombian cities like Medellin, Cartagena, and Bogota. Murders of foreign visitors went up by 29% in the latter part of 2023 compared to the previous year, according to the embassy, and most of the victims were U.S. citizens.
The online reaction to this tragedy is really, I would say heartbreaking in some cases, but I know they've lost their lives, but I think some of them have got some points where they are traveling abroad to take advantage of cheap local girls, and I mean something like that. A lot of horrible things go on during these journeys, but we'll be observing some reactions from some random persons I found online, and then perhaps you'll give your own reaction in the comment section below. But first, just take a look and learn a little bit about passport bros.
In terms of the passport bro thing, I think, alluding to what you said, I think a lot of guys are just tired of feeling unappreciated in the United States, so they're looking for respect and love elsewhere. Because I think what feminism has done is made men not inclined to provide as much. So it's okay, if I'm not appreciated in the U.S., I go provide for a woman elsewhere.
About midnight, you want to take your passport and just sort of wiggle it around like this, sort of wave it around.
Hello, baby.
Oh, really?
Sí.
¿Te gusta?
Me gusta más.
¿Más?
Más.
¿Todo?
Todo.
¿Todo para ti?
Sí.
I'm in Mexico right now, and now I'm a believer about the woman here. American woman and Mexican woman are not the same. They're completely different. Bro, it's almost like they're different tribes. Most girls you see in LA are like, oh, I'm a queen, boss, B, and they're not even that cute. Here, I swear, I'm not joking. Girls are like 8, 9s, and 10s, and you guys know I don't like to use numbers, but you know what I mean. And they are super proud. They're super, and we're proud, I mean, just like they carry themselves, they're super warm-hearted, they open, they're not as bougie, they're not arrogant. And the biggest thing, they don't care about having intimacy with so many people to chase validation. They still believe in love. I didn't completely believe it when people said, oh, they're so different. They are so different.
I guess this is what really led to those guys losing their life. They were, I mean, were they misinformed or what? They don't believe in money. Colombia, I'm sure most of those girls, they have pimps and they report back to them. So I think it's become some kind of a swindling ring or so. Anyway, let's just continue.
They are way easier to be around. Try it out for yourself. The Western social media culture brainwashed these young girls into, yeah, girl, you a boss B, and they need to learn how to handle you. What do you mean handling you? This is supposed to be a relationship. This is not a battlefield.
Ask Maria what she thinks about American men.
Depende del extranjero.
Okay,
depende, porque hay extranjeros que depende de la ciudad, depende si son blancos o negros. No es por racismo, no es racismo, pero son muy diferentes. Los hombres blancos, Estados Unidos son hombres más respetuosos, más caballeros. Los hombres negros son más... No, son más, sí, suave, sí. Suave. Ay, pero me encanta. Dios mío.
So it's come to my attention that they are unaliving the passport bros down in Colombia.
This guy's interesting. I love his comments.
So let me just make sure I have this straight, Demarius. You thought that you was going to take your ass down to South America on a flight powered by Massage Noir to go sexually exploit the locals, and there wouldn't be no consequences? You just really thought you was going to go, like, scout a wife maybe to bring back, and you could further shit on black women and live your life happily?
I mean, he's got a point. That's another angle that not many are talking about, taking advantage of these girls, like I was talking earlier. But let's just complete what he's got to say. It's really interesting.
Ever after, and nobody was going to say nothing, and nothing was going to happen to you? And here's the thing, when the unthinkable does happen, do you think the Popo in Colombia is going to waste time and resources trying to figure out what happened to your black ass? Sound like Big Mama and them gonna be having a memorial with no body and no answers. How dreadful. Remember a few weeks ago I told y'all that 24 was going to be the year of action and reciprocity and things are going to be exposed? It's fuck around and find out season. Now, I don't want anybody to lose their lives. Well, that's not true. I don't want most people to lose their lives. But this... what you want me to say?
Do not use dating apps if you're visiting Colombia. This new warning comes after 8 American tourists have died under mysterious circumstances.
Cut the bullshit. It was not under mysterious circumstances. Let's call it how it is. They were therefore sex workers. They went to a total different country in order to get sex with possibly underage girls or girls who are just above the consenting age. Yes, passport bros are not any angels. They went there in order to get something. Can we stop this narrative? Yes, can we stop of painting Colombia as the violent place that it was back in the 80s, almost 40 years ago? Yes, Colombia
it's still
is a dangerous
violent,
place.
technically.
So is the States.
The cartels.
It's been 8 people. You want to know how many people this happens to in the States? More than 16,000 abductions and thousands and thousands of SA assaults. They don't even have a specific number because there are thousands and thousands of cases. I understand maybe your video was in an informative way, but you're literally painting a whole country just for 8 cases when there are more than 16,000 cases that happen in the US. It is dangerous for Americans. It is dangerous for Americans. Yeah, everywhere is dangerous. There are bad people everywhere. Just stop.
Yeah, of course.
Stop. Cut the bullshit and call it how it is. This man, grown man, went there to find young women because usually in Latin America, especially Colombia, the consenting age is way lower than in the States. So they go there to get young women who are in vulnerable places, who literally have to sell their bodies in order to survive, just for them to feel their fantasy and their sexual necessities. And when the outcome is negative, then we are the bad ones. We are the bad ones because we didn't treat the pedophiles and the perverts with respect because they respect us so much. What?
This was my point right here. It might have gotten misconstrued, but it's a sad situation all around. These men died. They might have families, children. I don't know their situations. However, let's use our common sense is all I'm saying. You're going to another country where you probably don't speak the language to meet strangers off the internet you've never seen before in private places.
Yep.
Like, I wouldn't even do that in the States. And somebody said this in the comments, you can get got in the States. Like, you can be a lick in the States. But with your income in another country where the dollar's worth way more, you're that much more of a lick. So you've got to be safe. That's my point. We don't want to hear about more of y'all on the news because you didn't take precaution. Use your common sense, fellas. And ladies too, because I'm hearing y'all going to Jamaica to find some men.
They're going to Ghana,
getting green cards off y'all. Hey, listen. I gotta do some research. I'll get back to you.
The passport ladies. Do you see these guys?
It's getting wild out there. And it's been wild for these PP bros for a couple of years now. We keep seeing these stories in the headlines where these Americans go to these foreign countries and they get robbed or worse. And this article is an or worse situation. The Colombian authorities are investigating the mysterious death of Johnny Jerome, who was found in a jacuzzi. An American man identified as Johnny Jerome was found deceased in his suite in Provincia Lofts on Tuesday morning in Medellin, Colombia. The victim had been in the country for 2 days to celebrate his birthday and went out with his cousin on Monday. They met two women while out and returned to the room with them around 3:30 a.m. The women left around 5:30.
Okay.
Jerome's cousin remained in the living room drinking while he went to sleep and then found him inside the jacuzzi in the morning. I still do not understand going to a foreign country, going partying, and then bringing random strangers back to your place. So many of these people are being taken out simply because they are leading with their peen.
They're so naive, of course.
And the women of these countries know that they are being led with their peen. This is Johnny. I don't know what his motives were for taking these women back to his room, but he ultimately paid the price, and hopefully his family gets some answers.
Heard what's going on with the passport bros. So there's an article in the Wall Street Journal that came out this week, and basically in the last 2 months, like at least 8 passport bros, Americans, at least 8 Americans looking for love in Colombia have been unalived in the last 2 months. So the US Embassy is investigating it, right? And what they're saying is that some of the deaths are suspicious. American men were found dead in their hotel rooms or rented apartments after outings with local women. So apparently
not a surprise at all.
That they meet on the dating websites, and the women are robbing them, or in some cases, unaliving them. And it's gotten so bad that the U.S. Embassy actually issued like a alert. So the mayor of one of the towns said something pretty interesting.
I mean, this incident really highlights, there's this broader risk that is associated with seeking romantic or I would say intimate encounters in foreign countries where there's cultural differences, language barriers, and some varying safety standards that can create situations that is fraught with, peril. So there's a call to really avoid using dating apps in Colombia. So, it's really sad. It's really sad. But I think you have to protect yourself from all these. And let's just continue.
He basically said that he does not want people to come to Colombia if they're just coming for the sex and the drugs. And I think that a lot of people actually just think of Colombia as like this like red light district because sex work is legal in Colombia. So he basically said anyone who thinks they can come here for that, sex and drugs, tourism, we don't want them. And I kind of agree with him, right? So RIP to the men that lost their lives and condolences to their families. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this?
So this video is going to be to bring awareness to a huge problem that is going on in Colombia and for passport bros to keep an eye out. So one of the times that I was down there, I rizzed up one of the hotel receptionists of a hotel that I was staying at, and we went out on a couple dates. So she asked me, why do so many old white men come here looking for young children? So she told me that because of this, many old white men from America traveled there just because of this reason. So she started telling me about a bunch of experiences that happened there at the hotel where I was staying at. And I was in disbelief. So she was saying that there was currently some old businessman from America that was there when I was there. So, and what's crazy is the next day, I actually saw it with my own eyes.
Y'all remember the passport bros? The one that disrespect black women in America, saying they're gonna go to all these other countries and find submissive wives because black women ain't shit? Well, guess.
Do you notice how happy some of these black women are? I mean, come on. We know this is tragic and this is what happened to them, but this doesn't give you any right to be lazy, because I think that's one of the first things that those guys were going out there. You don't respect them, you don't do anything, you're just entitled. So this shouldn't be any pass for you to like, oh, okay, this may scare them off to not go out, then they'll come back and meet us home. Well, you need to get your stuff together if you want to get them, or else the men will just go their own ways. That's my advice to you, ladies, American ladies. So yeah, don't glut over this. Just take it serious. It goes both ways. So at the end of this, I have some 10 serious advice on passport bros on what to do when they're trying to go out there to search for romantic or social reasons, stuff like that.
Guess what, passport bros? Y'all are getting unalived in these other countries. 8 passport bros killed in Colombia in the past 3 months. A growing number of men are traveling to foreign countries to meet submissive women who are less expensive and not too demanding. The term passport bros first appeared on TikTok and refers to men who use dating apps for hookups with women in other countries. Authorities say at least 25 passport bros were unalived in Medellin, Colombia in 2023. 4 Americans were unalived in Medellin in November alone. This is 59-year-old Gregory Stewart Owens, who was looking for love in Colombia when he was gunned down in the streets of Cartagena during a robbery in October 2023. Owen was robbed of all his belongings, including his watch and a gold chain around his neck. Owen's family finally received his body in Tennessee 2 weeks after he was unalived. This is Johnny Jerome. He was 45 and was found dead in a jacuzzi in a luxury hotel suite in Medellin on November 2nd. He was unalived the day after celebrating his birthday with a cousin and 2 women he met on a dating app. Philip Mullins, a 32-year-old Tennessee man, was found dead in a room at the upscale 1 Million Suites Hotel in Medellin after a night out with a woman. And Minnesota comedian, I do not want to butcher his name, a high school valedictorian, was found dead on December 11th in a ravine after he had met a woman for a date. He was 45 years old and was beaten to death with a blunt object. 4 people, including a minor, were arrested and charged for his murder. On November 13th, Texas resident Jeffrey Hudson, 55 years old, was found dead in his hotel room with at least 20 stab wounds in his neck. Hudson was killed after returning to his hotel suite with an 18-year-old woman he met on a dating app in Medellin. The U.S. State Department has issued a warning to avoid using dating apps to meet women in foreign countries. Men are being warned not to book Airbnbs and hotels in isolated locations in Mexico and Colombia. And then there's Carlos, who luckily made it out alive after being drugged and robbed after going on a date with a woman from Colombia. I know there's a collective "we told you so" coming out of the black woman community. I can tell you that much. Exactly. Y'all are going over there looking for submissive wives, and they are setting you up with their non-submissive men. Hey, yeah, maybe stay your asses home. Just saying. Anyway, what are you guys having for dinner? I'm having meatloaf and mashed potatoes.
Comedian.
Guys, will you be going to that lady's house? She's having dinner. She's making dinner. I mean, will you want to go and have dinner with her? Just take a look at the attitude. No wonder those guys are going out there to search for some romantic or social, well-being. Jeez.
Was kidnapped and murdered while on a date in Medellin, Colombia last week.
I'm not impressed. As a Colombian, we've been telling y'all so many times to stop going to Colombia for sex tourism. Honestly, I lost all empathy for passport bros. And I'm not trying to start any controversy, but I love how this dude decides to describe this man, this 50-year-old man who used to fly to Colombia just to have sex with 19, 21, and 20 years old. As an activist, as an angel, as a person who helps so many immigrants from his country in the States. I'm not denying anything he has done to the community. Good for him. But do not paint the situation as, oh, this poor American went outside and he fell in love. No, he was looking for a 20-year-old to take advantage of. He almost tripled her age, just so you know. So, no, I do not feel bad for a pervert who only went to Colombia for sexism and got murdered in the process. Now, there's bad people everywhere. But don't try to follow this propaganda about how everywhere in Latin America is dangerous and how you too can get murdered in broad daylight. And as so many Americans like to say, fuck around and find out.
Passport bros are currently in the phase of fuck around,
Okay.
and soon they will be in the phase of find.
Here's the thing, you never want to be saying "I told you so" when people are being unalived, because it's not
Take
funny
it
when
easy,
people
ladies.
are losing their
Come
lives.
on,
Go
take
back
it
to that
easy.
video where I was
Work on
talking about
yourself.
how my uncle, he was a passport bro, and he had, whether it was actually the accuser, I don't know, because I don't talk to this uncle. He was like ostracized from the whole family. But anyways, go watch that video, and then go to the comments and see all the men telling me that I'm wrong, that it's safe, that they're going to the wrong countries, and then they start listing all the countries that they should be going to. And this is what I mean. It's arrogance. It's blind trust. You just think that you can victimize women and other countries, that nobody in those countries would take advantage. The fact that you think you're smarter than them. My thing is this isn't going to stop in one country. Do you think men of other countries take what men from Western countries are doing to their women, the women that where they live? Do you think they take that kindly? The men in these situations have only factored in women. They fail to realize that the women in other countries have families and men from those countries that are interested in being with them.
Come on, she sounds like they're forcing these ladies to accept the man. It's transactional. These ladies are there for the money. So stop saying like they also got families. Most likely, I think in most cases, the families of these ladies, they know. And they know this is what their daughter is doing. And it's transactional. So stop saying like these passport bros are just going there. Everything they're doing is wrong and stuff like that. Most of those guys who lost their life may have been looking for genuine love and they were taken advantage of. So take a look at, just take a look at it on different angles rather than just judging and stuff like that. Some of those men, the way I see them, I mean, they don't look like they were desperate. They don't look any desperate for women. I think that perhaps they were just there for some adventure and to just explore. You never know. You get a nice lady out there, get married to her, bring her home, and she's your wife. So it's not like they were going. Some of them were going to take advantage of the girls. So let's just get our facts straight.
So you're taking their option. As a Canadian who's traveled internationally, if you're an American traveling internationally, there's a lot of places that don't take kindly to Americans. I don't mean anything rude by that. It's just a reality that if I travel internationally and then people find out I'm from Canada, not from the US, I get treated very differently. Just a lot of things that passport bros fail to consider because they think they're smarter than everyone else. But it's not actual intelligence, it's hubris.
Well, how do y'all think Big Poe feel about this, huh? I always tell y'all what, ladies? A man cannot disrespect women and think that there is no consequences. Andrew Tate.
Jeez.
Kevin Samuels. Tory Lanez. We got a passport bro who's sentenced to...
Why do they all think these men were disrespecting the women? Come on, guys. Some of these reactions they just piss me off because some of them just get it all wrong. You know, those 8 guys have been judged, and I mean, you don't know what some of them were there for. Some of them went there to look for wives because the ones they have back home Well, the other lady, I wouldn't go for that dinner. Would you?
Death in China. This is remarkable. They think a passport means freedom for degradation of other women in other countries because women in the United States, oh, they're not good enough. Y'all think women in America ought to get y'all for y'all 50 cents. Y'all flipped the 50 cent, tripled it 3 times, made it $1.50, and then went over there and got sentenced to death. Y'all ain't read no laws. Your black skin barely making it in America, let alone another country.
We've already talked about passport bros. Their often predatory nature, their blatant incompetence that prevents them from understanding how dating in the rest of the world actually works, which makes them believe they can bring crumbs to foreign women and they'll settle for it. Not to mention the way racial dynamics work in other countries, etc. Trying to lecture this woman about the harm of stereotypes when he himself is only in her country because he believes stereotypes about soft and submissive Asian women. Digressing. Putting all that aside, passport bros are also a great demonstration of what it looks like when you blame everyone else for your problems whilst refusing to look in the mirror. Listen, I'll be the first to agree that dating is difficult, and honestly, in terms of finding someone you truly mesh with and complement versus trading a person for property, royalty, or goats, I think it always has been. But if you are finding dating so difficult that you have to flee to another country in a way that is so unnatural and intentional that you are part of a named collective group, meaning you're specifically moving for said reason, not because you've fallen in love with another culture, the problem was, is, and always will be you. Because all passport bros want is a traditional relationship. And again, we know the real reason why they're going abroad, and we've seen how they actually cannot handle the male role in a traditional relationship, but just entertain it for a moment. They exist here. There are plenty of men in relationships with traditional women right now who cook for them, who clean for them, who make their house a home, will carry their children, and in their own words, submit to them. There are plenty of women here in America who would jump at the chance to have a man of integrity, intellect, and principle to be the leader of their home. So if they're not jumping at that chance with you, chances are the problem is you. Chances are you're not creating the necessary dynamic for that to occur. Chances are you're not as great of a traditional man as you think.
Here's my 3 tips to stay safe in Colombia. Number 1, make sure you don't drink with anybody that you don't know.
All right, here is where I give you my own tips, 10 to be precise on, if you're out there. It's crucial to prioritize safety and well-being. So I'll just go straight to it, to some advice to help you to navigate foreign environments more responsibly. The first is you have to do your research. Just research the destination. You should do some thorough planning, before you book any hotels and stuff like that. Just research the destination's safety, local laws, and potential risks. So also understand these cultural norms and values to avoid unintentional misunderstandings. The second point I would like to tell you, or advice I like to give you, is to choose your accommodation wisely. Opt for these well-known and reputable hotels in safer neighborhoods rather than isolated or unfamiliar locations. Some in these reaction videos, most of them seems to have concluded that these guys were just there to exploit these ladies, but I don't buy that. Some of them, there are many passport bros that have actually got married and brought their wives back to America, and the wife is doing good. They're all doing good. They want a traditional wife, is their choice. Okay, so don't sit at home, be lazy. All the women were gloating like, oh yeah, now you're all coming back because it's dangerous out there, and they're just sitting at home being lazy. Anyway, the third advice I'll give passport pros is to be cautious with dating apps. Some of them, well, they are compromised. It might while meeting new people can really be part of travel experience. You should exercise caution when using these dating apps. And you have to stay informed too. Number 4, stay informed. Then the 5th advice, I'll say, just learn basic local phrases. It's very important. Familiarize yourself with these basic local language phrases to facilitate communication. And the 6th advice will be to adapt to local customs. So adapting to local custom, what I mean is, adapting to these local customs and behavior is to avoid standing out as a potential target. Your dress code, make sure you blend in. And the seventh advice I'll give you is to trust your instincts. There's that inner instincts that usually come with tells you that this may not be right. Just go with it. And eighth advice: stay in groups. Stay in groups whenever possible. Then the ninth advice will be just secure your valuables. Keep important documents such as passport and travel insurance secure in a hotel safe or something like that. Then the 10th and final advice will be to understand the local healthcare system. It's very important to familiarize yourself with local healthcare facilities and emergency contexts. So consider travel insurance that covers medical emergencies. So by adopting these cautious and informed approach, I think that passport bros can enhance their safety and ensure a more enjoyable travel experience. I mean, for one, I don't believe that most of these guys are out there for nefarious reasons. I do think that they're genuinely looking for love. That's why I put out this advice, because you cannot stop them. So we are here to analyze, give our thoughts out there. If you can't stop it, then just give out some very good advice to keep them safe while they are out there. It's really tragic for those 8 guys to have lost their lives. So I hope their family will recover from this. We should never take an advantage of people or anyone losing their lives to be saying, I told you so, stuff like that. But anyway, that was it. I would like to know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.